Good morning, school, and welcome to today's reflection section. I want to start with a pretty simple question. There's a photo in front of you. What do you think this may be a photo of? Now, actually, this photo is 90 years old. It was taken in 1933 by a fellow called Hugh Gray, and it is supposedly the first photograph of the Loch Ness Monster. Now, to put not too fine a point on it, Hugh Gray's photo went viral. It was widely distributed, lots and lots of people saw it, lots of people were interested in it, and it led to loads of people coming to Loch Ness monster hunting. The phenomenon became even bigger when in 1934 the photo that you see in front of you, the surgeon's photo, was distributed. However, it was proved that this picture was a hoax and it was fake, but it has led to a huge industry in Loch Ness, worth over £55 million a year, where lots and lots of people come to Loch Ness to try and find Nessie. There have officially been over 1,153 official sightings of Nessie, including 9 last calendar year. Some people say it's a dinosaur. There's even been people arguing it's an escaped circus elephant. But many people believe that in the deep, dark depths of Loch Ness, there is a monster waiting to be found. And Nessie is a good example of what is known as a cryptid. A cryptid is an animal that is believed by many people to exist, but there is no scientific proof of, a mythological beast. And what we're going to do today is we're going to just talk about a few famous cryptids. Bigfoot, or the Sasquatch, is a North American hominid, a giant hairy figure said to roam the forests and wilderness of North America. The indigenous tribes have long held the tradition and all stories of this mysterious figure seen roaming the woodlands. Evidence of the existence of the Sasquatch is scant. There is the occasional footprint or grainy photograph, as you see here, but its existence has never been proved. But that doesn't stop thousands of people each year heading out to try and hunt down Bigfoot. Similarly mysterious hominid figures appear across the globe. In Asia, the Yeti, or the abominable snowman, is said to roam the frozen mountains and wastes of the Himalayas and Siberia. In Australia, the Yowie, a similar kind of figure to Bigfoot, is said to roam the outback, and this is something that the Aboriginal people have been talking about and including in their folklore for centuries. But again, there is no evidence these things exist apart from the tradition and the stories. In fact, around the world there are countless examples of cryptids, of mysterious creatures, whether it's the Jersey Devil, for example, or panthers roaming the moors of Bodmin. We seem to be fascinated by the idea of these mythical beasts and where to find them. However, some cryptids turn out not to be cryptids. Some animals are so fantastic, while they are thought to be mythical and couldn't possibly exist, they actually turn out to be real. The platypus is a really good example. The platypus is a semi-aquatic mammal with a duck bill and webbed feet. It's venomous and it lays eggs. When stories of the platypus first arrived and the first stuffed platypuses started to arrive, it was considered to be a hoax. The scientists at the time thought that the creature was so fantastic it must have been a wind-up and it couldn't possibly exist. In a similar way, seafarers have long spoke about giant squid, these enormous sea creatures which could take down ships, these massive great big squid, and these were often thought to be fanciful and exaggerated. In fact, it wasn't until the late 1800s that the first specimen of a giant squid was found. It was washed up on a beach in Newfoundland, a place called Thimble Tickle, and it was about 45 to 50 feet long. There's now a statue of it, of the size of the thing. We have here a couple of more modern examples and photographs of giant squid. This one, however, is a hoax. It does the rounds on the internet, but it's not a particularly good bit of Photoshop. Unbelievably, the gorilla was actually thought to be a cryptid for a very long time. Early explorers to Africa would often come back with stories of monstrous, hairy, giant humans who could attack and overpower villages. But these were never taken seriously by scientists. And in fact, it wasn't until 1847 when the first gorilla bone was found in Liberia. And in fact, the mountain gorilla of Rwanda wasn't recognised as a species until 1902. And whilst it's true there is no evidence that the winged fire-breathing dragons of mythology actually exist, perhaps the venomous Komodo dragons of Indonesia gives an indication of where the mythology may well have started. Another famous cryptid is the unicorn, the horned horse of fairy tale. However, there could be a very reasonable and rational explanation of where the mythology of the unicorn came from. Over 2,000 years ago, the Roman historian Pliny the Elder wrote about unicorns, and this is how he described them over 2,000 years ago. He described them as having the feet of an elephant, the tail of a boar, while the rest of the body is like that of a horse. It makes a deep lowing noise and has a single black horn which projects from the middle of its forehead. The animal, is said, is so ferocious it cannot be taken alive. So possibly the unicorn that we come to think of is actually nothing more mythical than a rhinoceros. Now, I have no idea if the Sasquatch and the Loch Ness Monster and the Yeti are actually real or not. I doubt it very much. However, what I do think is that we shouldn't be so sceptical that we close our minds to the possibility of there being things on Earth that we don't necessarily understand. So our job, I think, is not to be so sceptical we don't believe anything, but not to be so open-minded, as Richard Dawkins says, that our brains drop out. Okay, thank you, school.